go. Welcome everybody to this YouTube live stream where we'll be talking about the O2 in Fortnite and Easy Life at the O2 interactive experience. I'm joined by 4 of the driving forces behind getting this experience made. We've got Alex, Ben, Morten, and Nish. Everybody give a little wave. Thank you very much. And while we are talking here and asking and answering questions, we'll also have a live playthrough. Ben and Morten will be going into the O2 in Fortnite and the Easy Life experience. I will be trying to join in as much as I can, but also juggling hosting the live stream at the same time. So it may not be the best performance you've ever seen from me in Fortnite. Right, let's get underway while we are. I don't know if anybody's watching this stream has had the chance to join the experience in Fortnite so far, either in the O2 or the Easy Life experience. I've been into both. The O2 is a fantastic work, and the Easy Life experience, the Easy Life at the O2 experience is absolutely phenomenal. I know I sound biased because I work for the company that helped bring it into life, but I genuinely thought it was a remarkable piece of work. So if you haven't seen it, do watch this video by the side as you're listening to us, or even better, get a copy of Fortnite for yourself. It's free to play, free to download on most platforms except iPhone. You'd have to talk to Apple about why that's not the case, and give it a go for yourself. So let's start with a question, which is, how did this idea come up? Like, what was the instigating idea? What was the spark that brought this into life?
I mean, this happened quite a long time ago. I mean, really, this is a year in the making. So things kind of change and iterate and build. But originally it came from a fame brief, which is kind of like a proactive brief to try and, raise awareness for something that we're currently doing or promoting. And in that case, it was the launch of Bubble. And as obviously these things take a while to onboard different stakeholders and stuff, moving through that timeline, we were starting to move into the Here Comes Brighter campaign. And it all started to make a lot more sense because obviously we were in lockdown. O2 has a really rich heritage of supporting live music. These are really difficult times. Was there a way that we could actively promote and support a music act? And also was there a way to get people who were denied access from the music they love and they go to the gigs they love at like O2 Academy venues? Was there something we could do for that? So it all kind of like just merged and morphed until it came into a perfect little sphere. And then, it just kind of took off from there, really. And the idea of bringing the O2 into Fortnite, it's like a player fantasy, like in the gaming world. It's like, give players something, what would be amazing and exciting for players? And our thought was, just imagine if one day the O2 just popped into Fortnite. What would that be? How would that work?
Peter, sorry, do you mind just accepting the ready thing so it can say ready all those?
Oh, sorry.
Ready up.
This is the pitfalls of trying to do too many things at the same time. Okay, I am ready. I was the one holding up the party. Apologies for that.
This is like watching Easy Life try and do it last night. Honestly.
So yeah, you had a launch event last night. Is that right?
Yeah, it was very, very meta. We were in a cinema watching the big screen where Morten was on his Xbox, and we had an Amazon Music Twitch stream featuring the band watch themselves in Fortnite with a big gaming influencer called Fresh. So yeah, it was mad, but really, really fun, and it looked brilliant, and everyone loved it. The reaction was great.
Yeah, it was really good to see Easy Life, the band, see their reaction, like really playing it for the first time, because obviously we'd had a long process of sort of sorting out all the different parts of that gig and what it would be, and obviously everyone had been involved in creating it, but really they hadn't really seen the sort of everything come together within game. So it was just really nice to just see how their reactions were, and obviously, it's nice to see that they're happy with what we created.
And we're number 2 most popular in the world on Fortnite at the moment, which is
amazing. So we heard a little bit about how you took how we took the idea to O2, but what did Epic Games, who make Fortnite, say when you took the idea to them?
So they loved it. They're obviously very skeptical about any brand partnership, but because of it being a pandemic, they wanted to get way more into like music and like they obviously knew about the O2, and it's one of those iconic like world class venues. So they were super keen. I suppose there was like a bit of back and forth for a long time, but the thing that kind of kicked it into gear quickly was when we saw the first kind of prototype from Team Create, and then they were like, "Whoa, okay, now we need to really like ramp this up." And they basically threw a lot of effort and time at it as well to make it even better, and that was led from the top, from the likes of Tim Sweeney.
I think it's really worth at this point, like a massive shout out to to Team Create, who are the Epic kind of recommended builders of choice. I mean, Andrew and John, and I mean, everyone who worked on it sprinkled their own magic into it and just took it to this next level. And as Alex said, it was that first prototype. You know, we came into it having references to some really great gigs, like from Marshmello to Travis Scott, and we thought, wow, if we could create something like that, that's going to be outstanding. But actually they just wanted to take it to a different place. You know, we wanted to give something which was a little bit more player first, which wasn't, you know, get there, it looks cool, but then there's some standing around. It was how could we gamify this whole thing? And that first prototype just blew everyone's socks off because it actively moved players through the different environments. And it was balanced finally with an element of choice and exploration, and getting that balance between the different environments, that social experience of enjoying music and gamifying it was just critical. And when Epic saw it, they just knew this is like, you know, a way to really showcase creative in a way that's not been seen before.
And I
So
think
sorry.
Oh yeah, no problem. But basically that just shows, just with my little production hat on, when you have such great creatives and you let them do what they're best at. So Ben and Morton had like big ideas. Andrew in Team Create just knew how to build these insane, playable, like epic sets basically in Fortnite. And we kind of worked together rather than stifling anyone's creativity. And this is why we actually got to the end product. Otherwise, we would have just been stepping on each other's toes and playing nicely and ended up with something that would have been like an 8 out of 10 experience. But to allow people to do their jobs where they excel at is why we got to where we are right now.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, actually working with other creators who really quickly shared the sort of vision that we had, and everyone was very quick to get on the same page. I thought that was a really big sort of deal for me, at least, because it made everything so much easier. Because obviously, you know, we all work together as a team, and everyone sort of agreed on the same things mostly. And that's why I think we really got to an amazing place.
Yeah, that's really important, isn't it? I think you can really, you know, there's a lot of talk in the last 18 months about brands in gaming, and everybody wanted to move into gaming. And I think you can really tell the ideas that are made by and for gamers, as opposed to the ideas that just kind of, oh, gaming's a new channel, let's take advantage of that, right?
And that was like top priority. Doesn't matter what, you know, O2 was saying or AEG or Universal. If it wasn't a good gaming experience, then we would have failed big time. And yeah, Epic were really, you know, pushing us on that as well to make it as good as possible for people to play.
Great. We've got our first audience question in. This is from somebody called Julian Douglas. Julian wants to know, how long will the O2 be in Fortnite? Is there a time limit or is it there for good?
No. So it closes at midnight on Sunday evening. However, we do want to try and bring it back for some other pop-up shows. Watch this space.
and that just means that we get to redesign the interior again with loads more different rides. So that's going to be great.
So we've talked about going to O2. We've talked about going to Epic. What about Easy Life? Like, what was their reaction when the idea went to them?
So I mean, you go, Nish, you go.
Basically, it was just so great to be working with such a young, upcoming band who is very much in kind of zeitgeist. A couple of producers that we're working on had already been to kind of their initial gigs, so knew them, and also just their aesthetic is very, very Fortnite friendly and vice versa. And their team was just hungry and willing to work and put in the hours to make this incredible as well. So they were just a dream to work with.
Yeah, very fun, very cool. Didn't take themselves too seriously. Yeah, got involved. It was great. And this is part of O2's kind of bigger kind of partnership with Universal Music. So every month, O2 have kind of access to different artists, and it just so happened that June was kind of Easy Life month with their release of their album Life's a Beach. So it kind of all fell together quite nicely. And yeah,
they also have like some long-term collaborators, which also really help the process. So Greg Barth, who has directed a lot of their music promos, they wanted to keep that consistency in the way that they're developing themselves as a band. And they, Greg just amplifies their tone and gets them totally. And we plugged Greg into our Team Create thing. We had several big creative kind of like sessions to break things down, discuss the key themes of the album, and basically come up with this framework, which was like hand in glove. It was tailor-made for the band. So they got to express a lot of the things of the music that you see in the experience. It's not just picked willy-nilly. The whole thing is a cohesive piece, which they helped to co-create with us. And Greg was outstanding and really, really got on board with how Fortnite works. I mean, onboarding into creative, if you've not really been playing around with it, it can take a while to get your head around, but they were super, super quick. And Andrew from Team Create was amazing at kind of like walking everyone through the process to get, it was like, can we do this? Not really. Oh, maybe if we do that. And it was just like, hack it, break it, ask Epic, any request, just get it out there, see if we can do it. And I mean, as soon as we got someone like the lead, so Zach Phelps, who's the lead of creative on board, that just opened up more and more doors, and more things could happen, and more like they talk about the 20%. How can you get that last 20% to make it as good as it can be? And they just polished and polished and polished.
And I'd say it was like huge leap of faith from everyone, because obviously not that many people can envision what a gig in Fortnite can look like at the end game. But so like O2 were brilliant. We were shooting with the band, and obviously everyone was like, what the heck is this going to look like? And no one had a clue. And then when it all came together and we saw the demo of the gig, we were like, that's good. Yeah, we love that. No one could really kind of foresee what it was going to be when it was kind of all together.
Yeah, I mean, we had to sort of actually technically kind of almost hack a little bit of what Fortnite Creative can do, because basically at the moment they are launching a new device, which is what we use to project the band into the game, which is called the Lamatron, and that is being launched currently within game, and we were sort of the first really to properly use that. And the thing is, it can only really display one video or one stream at the time. So when you go through the experience later on, we'll show a little bit from it. What you'll see is there are multiple different sort of feeds from the band, where you see one band in one screen and one band member in the other screen, and that's only something we did by actually sort of kind of hacking that device. So behind the scenes, both of these feeds are in the same screen, but we've just sort of cleverly hid part of the screen, so you can only see the part that we want to show at a specific place. So we had to sort of go around some of the possibilities within the creative just to make sure that we absolutely got the most out of the tools that we had available to us, really.
Should we try and jump in?
Yeah,
I was just going to say that's a perfect opportunity to take us into the experience while we're talking. And it was, I think it was mentioned that this is the first time a UK act have appeared within Fortnite, which is, huge deal. Really proud of it.
And it was actually really interesting from Epic's point of view. Obviously, they probably get slated for being too American all the time. So they were really keen on a very local act and a local kind of stance on things. So they've done a lot with J Balvin in different markets, and they basically pinpointing different countries to kind of hone in on and really grow their kind of usership in that market.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting because we've seen like them making a sort of a bit of a European play this year by bringing in the football teams, Manchester City and Real Madrid and so on, bringing those into the games. So yeah, it's great to have the UK represented like that. We're going to have another quick question, actually 2 questions, but they're about the same thing. What size audience do you hope to attract, and how is it being measured? How will you know if it worked or not?
Very good question. So Epic are very, they don't give much away. We are hoping to get some stats from how many people watched the gig last night. So we'll be able to hopefully share those in due course. I mean, like obviously 350 million people globally have Fortnite, so that's pretty big. And I think at any one time, there's like 6 million players. So, and we're number 2 most popular. So I'm sure you can work out some maths from that. But yeah, hopefully, Fortnite don't really release stats very often unless they're kind of record breaking. So if you see it, that means we've broken some records. That's what we're hoping for.
So we've talked about some of the people that are involved and how involved they were. Let's be a bit more pragmatic as well. Like, how long did it take to make the island and the Life's a Beach experience?
So start to finish, I think I jumped on this last November, which is kind of when we got the pro builders on board and just started talking through what the vision could be. I can't even begin to say how many iterations of just the O2 arena was made. I think at last count, there was about 17. So I think we've been at this for a very long time. But what I can say is that final gig experience, I don't know how Andrew and his incredible team did it, but I think they had it down in about a week.
Wow.
So it can work super.
I would say the builders can build things fast, like in a matter of weeks, less than probably. Obviously, there's a lot of parties involved to get approvals, so it's not a reflection of, I suppose, the build time. It's just, we've got to get the label and the band loving it, and then AEG who own, the O2, and then O2, and then Epic, and so that's the bit that took the time, making sure everyone felt it was like well, representative and balanced.
But it's quite a responsibility building the O2. I mean, it's like eighth wonder of the world. You show a silhouette of the O2 to anyone, and they're gonna know it. So it's got to be right. And obviously AEG are quite protective of the way it's represented. And because you can't create, and we didn't want to create necessarily a facsimile of real life, but you still had to kind of make sure that the proportions were right. I mean, we spent a week developing and creating different versions of the pylons. And could we get the cabling working, and how would that all work? So those things which might not seem to be like the most exciting from a gameplay point of view are still really critical when it comes to your first impression when you land on that island and you see it and you go, right, this fulfills that player fantasy.
Just going back to the point Alex made about the speed at which it was made, if you haven't seen the experience yet, you'll know like the reason I was kind of open mouthed is because there are sort of 4 or 5 very different environments in there, each with their own gameplay modes, each with their own little quirks and interesting bits to them. It's really, really varied. It's not just like, a gig setting. It's a proper experience that takes you through multiple levels.
And that was part of our design decision, really, in terms of like making sure that people didn't get bored, because it's really something that gamers have not necessarily the most attention span, because they're just used to lots of stuff happening all the time, and we wanted to make sure that
it is in game.
Sorry?
Like, what? There's so many people in there.
Oh yeah, tons.
It's great.
Yeah. It's still really active.
Yeah, I had to kick Ben and Peter out of the party in order to join in. So, sorry guys.
We're so used to seeing it just as like a one-player demo from like the prototypes, and it's like so nice to see actual real people, well, real-ish people in the game having fun.
I remember the time when it was just like 24 hours before launch, And I went in, and as you say, usually it's empty, and there were tons of people running around, and they go, "Oh my God, who are these people?" It turned out it was just Epic testers. They were just sending armies of testers to test every ride. Because I mean, it was like, even like the night before, I was there trying to do the backstage ride, and one of the balance beams on the obstacle course was kind of glitching and making you respawn. And I'm there on Discord just hammering away to Team Create, to Andrew going, "Can you fix this?" And like 2 minutes later, yeah, it's done. I mean, everything is done so on the fly with these guys to optimize stuff. It's incredible.
Morton, you need to do a dance. Someone's requested. Can
we've
you?
got not a question but a command. Do a dance.
Oh, I should do that. I know which one I should be doing here.
I know which one you should do. You're very good at it.
There's a dance coming up. How did we find Team? How did we find Team Create?
Peter, you found them.
I know, but I was asked the question, so I wanted to throw it out to the audience.
No, we obviously saw some of their previous work. So Weezer World was one of the kind of things that we used as like reference for what we wanted to create. And then I remember, we kind of just tracked them down via news articles and emailed them. Basically, they were like, "Yeah, we want to do this." That's it.
And Epic was super happy, weren't they, when we sent it? These are the guys we would have recommended. You know.
Yeah, they were really. They knew them anyway, but then they were even more impressed when they saw what they were doing.
Yeah.
And Andrew's been the most promoted creator in Fortnite. Like he's kind of got that as his little accolade. He's done the most successful kind of creator builds, and some of them are just spectacular.
Yeah. That's great. What you're seeing in the stream now, by the way, is just the first room of many. So this is like when I first started it, I was like, oh, this is cool, this is fun, but it's maybe not quite what I expected. But this is just the beginning. It really, really builds after this. And sorry, another question from the audience, just to go back to a point we made earlier about internationalization. How have you seen any of the reaction from people who live outside of Europe and maybe don't know the O2? Do you know what they think of this?
Yeah, the like PR coverage and the kind of all the kind of Twitter reaction and then Twitch reaction, that's been very, very global, and everyone is loving it. And yeah, I'm pretty sure a lot of people now know what the O2 is. Like,
you're about to watch Morton go down the toilet, by the way. There we go.
we had some really fun tweets about, you know, some people saying that they didn't expect the first time they were at O2 they were wearing some sort of weird skins, but obviously you know it's quite fun to see that people actually get to visit a place it does exist in real life, but actually it's sort of reimagined in game, which is quite a nice sort of reactions to get from people who are playing it.
Yeah, the band said the same thing, because obviously, you know, they've only had their debut album, they've been around for a few years, but they've not managed to play most of the world, obviously, as well, because of the pandemic. So they were thrilled to be able to like reach a brand new audience in lots of countries they've never ever visited. So.
And they were really involved with kind of teasing it to their audience as well, weren't they? What was it like to work with them, you know, building that campaign as well?
So that was super interesting, because usually brands want to be the ones to be announcing incredible campaigns that they're doing. So to flip it and actually use Easy Life to tease it out and like get their fan base involved and get maybe potentially their fans that don't play Fortnite involved as well. It was incredible. The reactions were so great, I think, because some of the band members picked up and started playing Fortnite as well. That made it even more, it just felt authentic. It didn't feel like we were pushing a message. And I just feel like that's kind of how this whole campaign's rolled out. It's just authenticity. We've stayed true to each platform. We've stayed true to the band. We've stayed true to the player. And we have stayed true to the brand as well. So I think this is why all of us are really happy to be presenting this to the world, because it genuinely is something that everyone's really happy to have worked on and happy to have pushed live in such a nicely way rather than a very advertising way.
And what's been really interesting is, again, on looking at the Twitter responses, is what it seems that we have managed to achieve is almost like a new format. Because, I mean, Fortnite has been very instrumental in iterating kind of like in-game virtual music events in their Party Royale platform. And obviously the Travis Scott concert is kind of like seen as a bit of a pinnacle moment. But I think pinnacle moment of a platform that kind of iterated to a point, which was the look at this, stand around for a while, and like, you're with friends and that's cool, but that's it. And people were on the tweets where they're going, I just wasn't expecting this. We went in with certain expectations and this totally exceeded it. And we've just seen that time and time again on different responses on Twitter and so.
That's brilliant. And you worked with a few gamers as well in the promotion of this, people like Ali A, to gamers and live streamers. How was that aspect of it?
That was also pretty sweet. I feel like it's the first time we've had such a sweet influencer response to it as well. I call my co-producer on this, Jasmine Wilson, I call her the influencer whisperer, because she literally, so Ali A is the biggest UK Fortnite influencer out there. He is basically Fortnite king in the UK. And it's the first time where she basically was like, took his agent the proposal, Ali A saw it, loved it, and it was done. There was no negotiation, no kind of back and forth. It was just, I think they were just so happy to see what was going to happen and bought into the idea as well, that Ali A just wanted to be part of it. So, and this is the case with like the rest of the influencers as well. Kaidos, if you've seen his live stream, he did a little live stream on the arena. He was super excited to see that this was a player first experience and not just another let's stand around and watch someone perform in a virtual environment. And with most of like the production team and the creatives on here, like we all love video games. And I think that was key to this being a success, where we did not want to be bored of what we were making.
No, exactly.
And the fact that we went into something and we were blown away that this was an in-game experience just kind of resonated with all of the influencers as well, because they have so many people approaching them to do something like this that it gets.
I think the point is also they are content creators of their own right? So that they know that they want to have content on their channels that they actually like showing off and that their audience likes, right? So making sure that we can create something that is applicable for that audience just is a really, really great thing to do, because that makes it so much easier to have those conversations, because they look at this and they're like, oh, I would love for that to be featured on my channel because it's really good content. So in that sense, it makes those discussions so easy, really, because you're kind of in the right spot to begin with.
And that's a universal approach, isn't it? In terms of, I mean, Alex, you know about how that ladders into how O2 are perceived as like this big step into gaming.
Oh yeah, totally. So obviously, lots of telcos at the moment, they're getting into 5G. It's gonna be huge, and this is like a really big moment for O2 to really step into the gaming world with a bang, and not do it in like a small fry way. So yeah, they took a big leap with this, and hopefully we can do lots more cool gaming stuff. I mean, gaming is huge in terms of like appeal and broadness. So I think trying to keep it focused around like gaming plus music would be amazing for O2 to continue with, because at least it narrows it down a little bit. When you say you're going to do gaming, it's like saying you're going to do music. It's like there's so many genres, so many things you could do. Looking forward to hopefully doing some more stuff that's kind of gaming plus music, I think, for O2.
We had a great client team which kind of like embodies that kind of split, because you've got Nuala, who has just like an incredible background in music and all of her contacts, and then you've got Johnny, who's also like a gamer. We were chatting about it last night, the cinema, like the games that we play and stuff. So having clients that kind of embody the mission that you're trying to achieve also really, really helps.
All right, brilliant. We're running out of time, so I'm going to ask one question just to each, and ask each of you in turn to answer. Which is your favorite moment, either of the building of this or the actual experience itself? We'll start with you, Alex.
Good question. I was going to say earlier that the thing I loved the most this week was watching Kaidos do the live stream, because he'd never seen it. He'd never seen a demo. It was literally the first time, and he was absolutely loving it. And that really was like, good. We've done a good job. If he likes it and it's, we're not just blowing our own trumpet, then that's good. We've done a good job.
Brilliant. Ben?
seeing Prototype 1, it was just the moment.
You just
it was
stole my moment.
Oh mate, I'm sorry, but it was. I mean, we were on that call together, and we just was going. It was a 5-minute compressed version, and we kind of went, if we show the world that, they'll have an aneurysm if we stretch it out over 20 minutes, because it was so incredibly intense. So obviously, it kind of got stretched out for pathos and narrative. But I mean, that was the moment for me.
Morten, do you want to add something to that or build on that, or has Ben said it all?
Well, yeah, I would. I think that would be my moment as well. Just because at that point you realize what you can actually make. It's sort of like, it's in your head for a long time, and then we actually see it on screen. At least, even though that's such an early version and very different to what we actually end up with. Yeah, definitely. If I had my own one, sorry, would probably be last night. Actually, in the end of the day, we went to the cinema. We sort of, after actually pretty much a year's work since the beginning, seeing it sort of come together and seeing like the band, and like I said earlier, enjoying it was a pretty immense experience, I think, for me. Also because all of a sudden I didn't have to make anything for half an hour. It's also quite nice.
And Nish?
I fully agree with Morten's sentiment that last night, just watching Easy Life react to them seeing the gig, and I swear to God, Mari had a little tear in his eye, and I could have wept as well. As Morten said, just for half an hour, not to have been off squirreling away making something was quite nice.
And I've thought of one more, being an Enemy. I mean, we were on the BBC, which is amazing, and I never thought we'd get there. But Enemy, I mean, I used to read that as a kid every flipping week, and now I'm like, I'm an Enemy. This is so cool.
That's great. So we're out of time, so I'm going to say thank you very much to everybody here. Thank you to Ben and Morten for playing through the game. I'm just stood in the O2 by myself like a lemon at the moment because I haven't had a chance to play anything. There were so many people involved in this project who couldn't be here as well, from VCCP, from O2, from Epic Games, from Island Records, from Team Create, the help from Havas. There's so many people were involved. It was a massive team and a massive undertaking. I think it's genuinely, and again, I am biased, but I think it is genuinely brilliant and a landmark moment, and I'm really sure everybody's just as proud to work for a company that's helped to make that happen. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching, and we will always available for emails and feedback, so please do get in touch. And with that,
please go watch it in game. Please go actually play the game. Go play the game, because I mean, it is a lot better in real life.
Not just for the metrics. It is genuinely a wonderful experience, and
like any gig, it's more fun in real life. So
yeah, definitely.
And if you can squad up with some mates as well, it's like, music's best enjoyed together.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And with that, we will say goodbye. Thank you. Bye.
Cheers, bye.